Yo, what's up, y'all? This is Kyle and Louis Vuitton Don. I just want to shout out to my dog, new good music artist, Big Sean.
The worst thing I've ever done was sign Big Sean.
That's a beautiful thing. Oh, that's a beautiful thing, man.
No,
wait.
The worst.
The worst. The worst. This is the best.
I want to start this video off by saying that Big Sean makes amazing music. I don't want this to seem like a Big Sean hate video. Big Sean is a top 10 mainstream rapper from the 2010s decade. And the downfall of Big Sean doesn't stem from his art itself, it stems from the artist himself. What I mean by that is Big Sean is Big Sean's own worst enemy. And with the drastic changes hip-hop has seen in the last 10 years, the only one that stopped Sean from being a part of that big three with Cole, Drake, and Kendrick is himself. Well, and the fact that it's a big three and there's already three rappers in it. But Sean was on a very similar trajectory success-wise to the big three for a long period of time. And somewhere along the way, he lost his step and fell way behind. So in this video, let's understand what went wrong for Sean and how he could redeem himself and make the comeback that he deserves and seems to want.
There's a lot of little nuggets in both of their disses that if it wasn't for these breakdowns, and salute to, guys like this, Rapaholics, because I think they directly get it.
Now, before we get into it, let's shout out the sponsor for today's video, Five Guys Burgers and Fries. They didn't actually sponsor nothing, but they fit the theme of this video because to describe Big Sean's career perfectly is to compare him to the fast food chain Five Guys Burgers and Fries. It's a great fast food chain, but it often gets overlooked. The company has never seemed to have the confidence to do guerrilla marketing or any sort of aggressive promotion or expansion. There's about 1,700 locations worldwide. They're all over the world, all over the place. They're not bad, but I've never heard anyone hype up a Five Guys Burgers and Fries burger. And when you go there, you know what you're getting. It's a reliable, solid burger, but there's nothing that's going to blow you out the water about it, and nothing about their brand sticks out in particular. Compared to a McDonald's burger, Five Guys isn't nearly as formulaic, quick, but as a brand, they're also not as scalable or big. No matter how much you hate McDonald's, everyone knows the brand, and everyone's tried a Big Mac at one point or another. McDonald's in this case is Drake, quantity over quality. Then we have In-N-Out Burger. The LA-based fast food chain's approach to burgers could be compared to the LA rapper Kendrick Lamar's approach to music. They put quality and experience first. They only expand strategically and never prioritize scalability over maintenance of quality. In-N-Out is known to be elite. Then you got something like a Whataburger, and that's like J. Cole. See, Whataburger only has restaurants in Texas. They're not as big as In-N-Out, just like J. Cole isn't as big as Kendrick, but the restaurant is a cult classic. If you go to Texas, they'll debate you all day that Whataburger is better than In-N-Out. The same way some fans will swear by J. Cole being better than K-Dot. Well, at least before he apologized to Kendrick. Anyways, I say all this to say the difference between these guys in the big three compared to Big Sean is that just like Five Guys as a restaurant, in my opinion, Big Sean hasn't found his niche or what stands out about him as an artist. Sean has emphasized this in one of his recent records where he reflected on his current position within hip-hop and how he's not regarded as one of the top guys of his generation. He rapped, "I think where I lack most as an artist is consistency. I just haven't had the energy to compete with enemies or y'all so-called bigger three." And in a way, I understand Sean. If I went through everything he endured as an artist, I'd probably be exhausted too. See, if you guys didn't know, Sean has experienced countless attacks from hip-hop titans like the boogeyman himself, Kendrick Lamar, and even the same guy that discovered Sean, Kanye West, abandoned Sean very recently. We're going to cover why these two artists in particular have destroyed Sean's confidence, but if you want a full breakdown, I did do a deep dive on Big Sean's beef with both Kendrick and Kanye West. You can check it out in the link in the description of this video. I mean, just as recently as when Big Sean dropped that comeback record in early 2024 when he rapped about how he didn't have enough energy to compete with the bigger three, that same night Kendrick Lamar kickstarted his massive battle with Drake and said, "F the big three, it's just Big Me." Obviously, as a result, Big Sean's comeback attempt failed and all the attention shifted away from his song and onto Kendrick. But that's not the first time Kendrick has messed with Big Sean. They had a little subliminal war after collaborating together on Control, which is the song that Kendrick famously told the whole industry to F themselves on, not just the big three. Again, I have a full deep dive of Big Sean and Kendrick's back and forth, so I'll leave it in the link in the description, but basically, Kendrick rapped directly to Sean on his 2017 record, The Heart Part 4, saying, "My fans can't wait for me to sun your punk butt and crush your whole little career. All big pun, you punk butt. You're a scared little female dog." Now, at the time, many people thought this was a warning shot for what was to come just a few weeks later on Kendrick Lamar's album Damn. But on Damn, we got no disses at Big Sean. The most we got was a song called Element where Kendrick rapped that if he had to smack a scaredy cat, he'd make it look sexy. But ironically, in 2023, a different version of that Element record would leak, and it featured the crash out that everyone was expecting to see on Damn. Kendrick went off on Big Sean, rapping, "Big Sean keeps sneak diss and I'll let it slide. I think his false confidence got him inspired. I can't make them respect you, baby, it's not my job. You're finally famous for who you date, not how you rhyme. Cue raps, get your puberty up, then make you a classic album before you come at us." Speaking of him being more famous for who he dates and not how he rhymes, that's another problem fans seem to think that Big Sean now has in his life. He's been with Janae Aiko for over a decade now. They have a kid together, they've been on and off, but recently Big Sean said that they have some things to work out before they could even think of marriage. Anyways, this isn't a gossip or relationship channel, so we won't dive deep into that, but it's important to note that there's been a lot on Sean's plate that eventually caused him to break down on an Instagram live the other night. He started talking about his album, and then mysteriously he had to walk out of the frame to hide his tears and regain his composure. We're going to discuss everything that he said in the Instagram live about his current situation and about his album, but aside from relationship issues or him feeling like he doesn't have the energy to compete with or respond to jabs that his peers like Kendrick sent his way, a lot of the confidence that Sean appears to have lost in himself as an artist stems from his relationship with Kanye West. See, Big Sean signed to Kanye back in 2007. He's always been at Kanye's beck and call. He's written on Kanye's classics like Graduation, Dark Twisted Fantasy, 808s, Yeezus. He was always there for Kanye, but he never really saw that same love reciprocated on Kanye's end. Kanye never put Sean on any of his albums except for a deluxe track off My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and Kanye's always seemed to show more attention, love, and praise to other artists within Sean's generation. And again, I think this stems back to the fact that Sean never really had something about him that stood out massively or something he did drastically better than his peers. That's why I think Kanye always kind of put him on the back burner or neglected him as a mentor. And on a bigger scale, I think that's why it's been hard for him to compete with that bigger three today in hip-hop. When Sean was coming up on Good Music, he was lyrically an underdog compared to the Good Music president Pusha T or Ye's ghostwriter Sci-Hi the Prince. He also didn't make hits as effortlessly as a guy like 2 Chainz. He couldn't sell that nice guy image as well as Chance the Rapper. And he didn't take any controversial, edgy risks stylistically or sound-wise like a Kid Cudi or a Travis Scott did. So for those reasons, Kanye always gravitated more towards the rappers I just mentioned, like Chance the Rapper, 2 Chainz, Travis, etc., more than he did to Big Sean. In fact, in a 2021 interview with Drink Champs, Kanye said the worst decision he ever made in his career was signing Big Sean, and on his tombstone it should say, "I deserve to be here because I signed Big Sean." Now, these comments were extremely left field. Kanye claimed to feel this way because Big Sean didn't support him running for president, and again, I did a whole breakdown on Kanye's beef with Big Sean. You could check it out in the link in the description. This video is more to understand where Big Sean's lack of confidence stems from. Anytime he sends a subliminal shot at someone, he instantly walks it back. He sends out sneak disses, but then he gets scared whenever there's actual smoke. He gets on record and says he doesn't have the consistency or energy to compete. He gets on the internet crying about the hardships of creating his album. Again, I'm not trying to hate. I do think Sean is an amazing artist. I just think there's an apparent lack of confidence that has held him back from doing bigger things. And that's why he's in a tough spot today. See, in classic Sean fashion, fans thought he was taking subliminal shots at Kanye on a freestyle this summer. So a bunch of Kanye West fans got together to leak Big Sean's album. Big Sean denied that he was dissing Kanye, and he ended up having to rework the album, and it just came out as I'm making this video. Funny enough, after releasing this video, I'm about to go listen to it, and I'm sure it will be good. His last 2 albums were good, but the problem with Sean is that a pretty good album won't get him anywhere. Like Kendrick said in that unreleased diss on Element, if Sean wants to be considered one of the top guys, he needs a classic. The only album you could potentially say comes close to a modern-day 2010s rap classic would be his project Dark Sky Paradise, and a lot of the best records on that project were carried by the features. Songs like Blessings, Deep, All Your Fault, One Man Could Change the World. The thing is, again, with Big Sean, he's a good rapper, but he hasn't been able to live up to the moment that Dark Sky Paradise was, and none of his new work truly stands out the way that his peers' work does. He doesn't go deep on social issues like Kendrick does. He doesn't have strong concept albums or records like J. Cole does. He's got some hits, but not as many as Drake. And with the climate of hip-hop today, even though Sean's music has been maturing and you could hear a positive change in his perspective on life, rap today is in a different space than it was in the 2010s. And it's a problem bigger than Sean, but Sean suffers as a result. See, the music industry today is more about personality, aesthetic, and reputation than it is about music. In the 2010s, you had guys like Wale, Meek Mill, Schoolboy Q, who were running the new school of rap. They had personality in their music, but they didn't need to focus on anything outside of progressing as a rapper. What they wore, how many hits they had, how visible they were on social media, none of that mattered. It was just the music. Now you need something extra. You got the leaders of the new school like Cardi, Travis, Uzi, Thug, and they're all mysterious, edgy, they experiment with crazy voices and sounds. Then you got rappers like Tyler, the Creator, who've been able to maintain relevance by changing his sound with each album and keeping his music refreshing and exciting. You got Future, who's cracked the code to making consistent bangers. Obviously, you have the big three that have the bars, the hits, the classics, and everything. And other than that, basically every other rapper in the game right now sells under 50K the first week. So when I say that Sean can't just settle for a quote-unquote pretty good album, what I mean is he was one of the most successful artists of the 2010s. Whether Kanye thinks it was a mistake signing him, he was one of the biggest rappers last decade, and the reason why I think he hasn't maintained that title is because he's let his insecurities get in the way of trying to elevate his sound. I think A$AP Rocky suffers from a similar issue, but that's a topic for another video. But yeah, a lot of Sean's insecurities came to light on an Instagram Live a few days before he released his album when he was talking about the album, and he said, "I'm a chronic overthinker. I'm a chronic constant worker, and I've been having a hard time lately, straight up. It's not been easy, but it's worth it. The whole concept of the album is like better me than you. So when you go through your issues, it's like you're the one who can handle it. It gets hard. Your faith gets tested." As he was saying this, Sean started to choke up and hold back tears. It was getting hard for him to speak, so he left the room to gather himself. He came back and started talking about the challenges of making his new album and dealing with criticism. He said, "When you make art, you put a lot into it. I am definitely a chronic overworker, overthinker, and I've been dedicating a lot of my life to it. I don't try and read what everybody says. It's hard because you do care about your stuff. I try and stay focused on the path and keep the music focused on what I want to do, no matter what people think. Sometimes if you read too much into things, the internet can suck the fun out of it. Just anything you do. So as an artist, expressing yourself is important to me to stay on that path." Big Sean then said his mom was the one who recently helped him rediscover his confidence. More specifically, he said, "My mom called me and she was just giving me them words. And I was just like, look, I can keep working and make it exactly how I want it and I'll just keep pushing it back forever. Or I can believe in this firework that I got right now and that's what I'm gonna do. I appreciate my mom for being that guardian angel and always giving me that advice. She really talked me through it for real." And with all that being said, above all else, it's good to see that Sean's got people in his life like his mother, because sometimes your whole perspective or mentality can change just based off someone else uplifting you. And as for his confidence, I hope to hear it on this album. I hope those doubts weren't serious that Sean was saying his mom talked him out of. And I hope going forward he remembers the accomplishments he had, especially in the mid to early 2010s. I hope he doesn't let what guys like Kanye or Kendrick say hold him back, and instead I hope we see him channel that negative energy into a newfound confidence. Because I'll be honest, while Big Sean does sound like he's been maturing overall in his music throughout the years, I haven't heard him sound very confident as a rapper since Dark Sky Paradise, and that was the last time he had massive mainstream success, and that was the last project that people could even consider as somewhat of a newer age classic. And there's no perfect remedy to overthinking, right? And that overthinking can kill you. That could be what causes these insecurities that make his projects and his overall rap suffer as a result. But he's taking the right steps by surrounding himself with people who are always looking out and have his best interests at heart. But at the same time, confidence is something you gotta find on your own. So as great as it is to have your mom by your side, Big Sean's gotta find that confidence within himself. All I know is I can't do another album full of Sean sneak dissing and then walking back all these disses saying he's not actually dissing anyone. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you like Sean's new album, what he needs to do to make it back into that big three, if he ever will make it back into that big three, and does he have a classic on his hands at this point in his career? Let me know in the comments and I'll catch you guys in the next one.